there, and welcome to this presentation on how to discover reviewing your online presence equals money in the bank. But before we start, let's talk about reputational management. And what is it? So reputation management is the process of identifying what people are saying about your business and what is displayed online, and then taking steps to ensure that the general consensus is in line with your goals and what you want for your business. So it's critically important to make sure we understand where we want our business to go. If we go back to the very start, let's really consider what it is that we're selling, what service or product we're selling, and how people actually choose us. So the traditional way was a stimulus. I need this, I want this. Then the next part is just take my money. Then lastly, it is I either love it or I dislike it. And it would be then up to us how we would share that information. But today, things have changed. We now have these mobile phones, and especially since COVID, everyone is going to Google and looking to see what other people are saying. We've lost trust in what marketers are now telling us, and especially what companies are telling us. Even to explain it a little bit further, I know that there's certain sporting companies such as Nike or Adidas where people are actually trying on their sneakers, and then while they've got them on their feet, Googling the shoe type to see what other people are saying, what their experience is like. And if it's not what they expect, they're then taking the shoes off and trying something else. And that's the sort of world we're now living in. And we call this the zero moment of truth. It's when someone decides that what you're selling is what they want to buy. But when you look at the zero moment of truth, that comes back from the last person's moment of truth when they purchased it. I loved it or I hated it. And it's reading what their experience is that then encourages the next person to buy or not to buy. So the question for you is, are you standing out where your ideal clients are making their decisions? And 93% of buyers say they use online resources to help them with that. So let's just quickly look at what the average customer journey looks like. So we have our customer and we have to make him aware of who we are. And we do that through some form of stimulus, whether that be our social posting or advertising, our email or text marketing, whether we've got a loyalty program or not. It could even be just word of mouth. And then there's findability, and that's so critically important, especially if you're a local business. So that's through organic searches where they put your name in. They're looking at maps or directories, even apps in cars now, such as TomTom, or if you've got a Mercedes or a BMW, a lot of those vehicles have on their display boards the actual place and the business that you're looking for. And then there's listings. Next is reputation, and that's the research part of the equation, where the customer goes out to make sure that what you're telling them that you're selling is actually what they're getting. So they're looking for, blogs and articles, reviews, just social media and what other people have posted about your business. And then lastly is conversion. They want to make sure that whether they're purchasing, what's that journey look like? Am I going to purchase through a website? Am I walking into a store? Is it an online booking, or is it a sales call? Lastly is advocacy, and that's someone's experience, and it's critically important, like we all know, to make sure that someone has a fantastic experience. So it's that post-purchase piece. It's understanding that business that I have just purchased from gave me an amazing red carpet experience. And that ultimately, that advocacy is where we get someone to write a review or to tell the world about how their experience was. And the advocacy comes back to help us build our reputation. And that, my friends, is the zero moment of truth for the next buyer. So it's important to make sure we win at every level of the customer journey. And this is why. So your business, you're out there, you've got your stimulus, you're making people aware of who you are. They can find you. Now, your client's doing their research and they're looking to make sure that the purchase is how they want it to go, whether it's online or in store, and then the experience. But here's the issue. Now, if I'm the client and I get to that research part, which is the reputation, and all of a sudden you've either got some bad reviews or you've got another business in the same category who is showing higher on the SERP, which is the search engine's results page, and they've got more stars, wow, there could be a problem. And let me explain more. So what could possibly happen, and research is showing this to be true, is that if your competitor has gone out and really done some great work around protecting their reputation, your client could actually go to them. Now, if you're spending money on ads, this is something that you really need to be aware of. So as you can see through the customer journey here, if your reputation is actually not as good as your competitors, you could lose your client. So on this here, if the competitor is proactively going out and building and has above a 4.5 score and especially has over 100 online reviews, you're probably going to lose your client. Now let me use this as an example. So I put into Google air conditioning company Sydney. And if we look at this here, this is taken straight from Google, we can see that there's Alliance Climate Control. And if you have a look at the stars, they've got 4.9 out of 867 reviews. Under them, there's Balmoral Air Conditioning. Under them is ACG Air Conditioning. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about your own habits and expectations. Now, if this was you and you wanted to purchase a new air conditioner or get yours repaired, who would you choose out of here? And if you look, two of these companies are actually doing ads and they're paying for their presence to be on Google. Here we can see Balmoral Air Conditioning. They've got 19 reviews. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was choosing out of this list of businesses, would I be choosing Balmoral Air Conditioning? I'd probably be thinking twice because they've only got 19 reviews. So it's up to you, but consider your own behaviours and how would you pick and choose who you were going to work with. So the outcome is your competitor gets your clients because they have a better online reputation. And online reviews are how today's consumers discover, evaluate, and trust businesses. And when it comes to discovering, reviews are the third most important ranking factor in local search on Google. And businesses appear in the top 3 positions once they've got an average of 47 reviews. Now, when we evaluate a business, what we're doing is we're looking to make sure that what they say is true. So 56% of consumers select a business if it has positive ratings or reviews displayed in the local pack. And going from a 3-star rating to a 5-star rating gets a business 25% more clicks on Google. And it also builds immense trust. So 85% of consumers trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. And 85% of consumers think that online reviews older than 3 months are no longer relevant. With 40 online reviews required before a consumer actually believes your star rating to be accurate. And then lastly, 57% of consumers need at least 4-star rating before they choose a business. And trust is so important. And whilst we're trying to get the trust of our client, we also need to build the trust of someone else or something else, and that's Google. And the important thing years ago is we would put into our search engine what we are looking for. If you think about it today, that term is now, I'm going to Google what I want. So that alone explains to you the power that Google has. So what we need to do, we need to be looking at business listings and looking to see what our presence looks like. So back in 2005, when Google started the local map, to today, they have this problem. And the problem is what is called NAP, name, address, and phone number. And if you think about it, this is Joe's Plumbing. And on Google, Joe has his address. And Google looks at it and says, okay, this is the information we have on Joe's Plumbing. And then on Yellow Pages, Google is crawling through all of the listing information that Joe's Plumbing has on board, and it's making sure that the NAP is correct. They want to make sure that everything is right, and then that actually gives you what's known as a domain authority score. So that domain authority is Google saying, yes, what we know about this business is right. And if you look at Yelp, the more complete and accurate the data, the more Google trusts it. So the more that we have listed, whether it's the opening hours, phone number, even photos, websites, all of that, the more we have listed, the more Google trusts it. But here we have Facebook. And on Joe's Plumbing, he's been so busy, he's forgotten to update his address. His opening hours they're not consistent across all of the platforms. So what's happening is Google's looking at this and it's saying, well, there's information that we're missing. And because of that, it's actually damaging Joe's Plumbing visibility when it comes to the local search. And here is all of the sites that Google uses to make sure that you get a trust score, a trust signal. But each of these sites also has another score, and that's the domain authority. And the higher the domain authority, the more value Google gives to your business and where you're listed. So we've outlined some of the problems and the reason your business may not be being found online. But now I just want to show you what some of our solution might look like and how it might be able to help you. So here on this page, this is just a screenshot of our software, and you can see that we have a business that has 28 presents. Now, out of those 28 presents, they have 50 issues. So if we look down at Yelp, we can see that the name is right, the address, the phone number, and website is right. Tick, that's really good. We've got 100% for Facebook, so we know that that's okay. But what our software does is it allows all of those 28 presents to show us what is wrong and what's incorrect. And if you look at the very top of this screenshot, and if you look into the right-hand corner, it's got issues last year. Well, this client, as you can see, has only been working with us since this 6th of August. Now, when we first connected them to the software, they had over 220 issues. Now today, 10 days later, they have 50 issues. So what do you think Google thinks about that? Google is saying, wow, this is actually really good. All of a sudden, their SEO is working better. All of a sudden, they are being found more often because Google trusts that they're going out and rectifying the problems. And that's what we'd love to do for you. But before we can actually even help them get more business listings, we need to make sure that the source data we have is right for the ones that we already have. And then the next thing that is so critically important when we're building trust is reviews. So So here is a graph of another client, and in the last 12 months, their reviews have grown by 100%. When they first started with us, they were in a local area, they were sitting around 35 in the local search for their category. They are now sitting at 2. And reviews are well and truly part of their solution. And that's what we can do for you. We can mix together all of your keywords, all of your reviews, your listings to make sure that you can get found. That's only just part of what we can do. So if you'd like to find out more, we'd love to have a chat with you. Why don't you contact us on success@reviewly.com.au or on our website, book in a time, and we can go through the software and show you more around how we can actually help you manage your reputation and help you be found online and build local trust.